our goal and our intention here is to show you as many different ways to make money and to obviously to never, ever, ever be broke. My co-host today again is Miss Holly Reed.
Hi, everybody.
And our special guest today is Craig Garrett.
Hello, how are you doing?
Good.
And so we're here with producer Craig Garrett. And Craig, just give us a little feel of what all a producer is responsible for.
So for me, we generally refer to me as a producer because when you think of a promoter, you think of the person just doing the advertising.
Yeah.
You know, putting up signs around time, buying space or ads or ad buys on the radio. And really for me, I control the whole thing. So everything from the contract negotiation with the artist management team, renting the venue, all the advertising, social media, lodging, logistics, catering, everything, moving them around. So for me, it's a holistic perspective. So everything that you see at any given event, I touch, versus just someone had planned the event and then I'm promoting it.
And so tell us about your journey, because obviously you did not start off as a producer. So tell us a little bit about how you got there.
Yeah, so my journey is really interesting in the fact that I never intended to be in the music business. Never was on my radar, with the exception of people say, well, what was your dream job? I was like, oh, I'd love to be Prince's guitarist.
Right.
But that's really the only thing that I've ever thought about being in the music.
Do you play the guitar?
I do a little bit. Not enough to be in his band, but
Right.
really, Holly?
He can dream. He can dream.
Exactly.
Right.
So I'm a mechanical engineer, formally trained, worked in corporate America, doing engineering, operations management, supply chain management. I ran manufacturing plants for a long period of time. Went into consulting for a little period of time in that same type of arena.
Right.
And all the while I was doing events on different scales for my friends, my family, just for myself.
And so had you already exited corporate America at that time? You were still in both worlds?
I was still in both worlds at the time. I was literally on vacation.
And so when did you actually leave corporate America? When did you say, deuces, I'm out for real?
That was April of last year. So April, I think it was like April 14th, something like that.
Congratulations.
I know.
Thank you. Well, I'll be honest. It wasn't by my choice.
Right.
I got a phone call. I thought I was going to a meeting, and ultimately like, oh, we're laying you off. I was like, oh, okay, well.
So was it a true, hustle decision? Like, I'm going to make this work no matter the cost. All my eggs are going into this basket. This is what I'm doing full time.
Yeah. Yep. I remember the actual moment. My friend has a nice little pool outside of his house, and he's got these huge birds. I don't know what they were. It's in South Africa. This very odd looking bird. They kept diving in his pool. It was a little aggressive. And all of a sudden they all left. And I just sat there by myself. And I remember thinking, oh, that's strange. Why is this moment of clarity coming about? And I just said, okay, I'm going to do it.
And so what was your initial investment? Did you, since you were in transition, so did you do the formal business plan and say, I need to allocate these funds, or you're like, I'm just going to figure it out?
Absolutely not. I did it absolutely all the wrong way. And I say that. I started a business plan after the fact, but when I came back, at the end of the day, I'm a saver. I had some money put away. Fortunately, because I save and I live a very frugal lifestyle. I had great credit also. Okay. So in addition to the cash on hand that I had the ability to borrow at a very favorable rate when I needed to, which I tried to avoid. Right. But really it was personal savings. And I wouldn't say I always say that's the best approach. And I originally was going to go raise funds, because I had done all these smaller events throughout time, and people were like, oh, if you ever get serious, let me know. I'd love to invest.
I'd like to, right.
And there's two parts to that. One, I don't want to lose anybody else's money. Losing my own money hurts, but losing somebody else's money is really painful for me.
Absolutely.
The other thing is, I don't want to give up control. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, when people invest money, a lot of times, regardless of what the agreement might be, they still either verbally have an expectation of some type of input. And if you've ever been to one of our events, I like to have control over every aspect of it, what the experience is, everything from who's the artist, what's the signage look like, where the placement of the voter registration table is outside.
Right, because it all matters.
It all matters to me.
So when you got started, did you have a certain kind of event in your mind? Like what you wanted to do?
That's a great question. So for me, when I got on a plane, I flew back, and it's a long flight back from South Africa. Because I had a spreadsheet out, and I knew at that point what I had in the pipeline of just things that we were going to work on or things that I had out there. So for me, I actually created a budget for just what I already know we're going to do in that year. And then I looked at that number and compared it to the amount of money I had in my bank accounts, and I figured out what the difference was. Unfortunately, there wasn't much difference. Actually, there was no difference. I didn't need to. Now, I used my leverage and buying power to not use my capital, but I used it very strategically. Like I knew that I could buy certain things on day one using my leverage, my lines of credit, but on day 27, I was going to have the cash to pay it back.
Right.
So I wasn't using my own cash. I was continuing to build my credit by borrowing, paying it back on time, etc. But I did have a plan. So I laid out a 3-year plan, and it was a very aggressive 3-year plan that I wanted to do. And back to, I think, what your original question was, what was my what was the thing that I wanted to create? Ultimately, it was a music festival. I love the standalone concerts, and those are amazing. I mean, I'm a fan. When the show starts,
right,
you'll see me out in the audience in a seat. You'll see me on the side of the stage. I'm a fan first, period. But I wanted to create a music festival, and I wanted to create a music festival that incorporated the things that I loved, which were great live music, amazing food. Yeah, those were the things. New food, music. Sorry, the third part was the wine.
The wine. Okay.
I don't drink, so that's the part that threw me. It's 3 parts, so it's music, food, and wine, and those two things kind of go together. But the wine doesn't resonate personally with me.
And now that you've been formally in business for a couple of years, have you recouped your initial investment?
Have I recouped my costs? Probably, but not really, because I'm still investing. I mean, we're building out the brand. We're actually working on launching a festival in Savannah next year in the fall.
Nice.
So if I look at the total sum of the events, have they been individually, collectively profitable?
Right.
Yes. But there's so many other expenses from running a business, from paying attorneys, to review contracts, all the other stuff, deposits, travel. One of the things that I do, again, not to talk about what Craig is, but I get on a plane, I'll go talk to agents. I just got back from LA because I'm going to go talk to them. That's how I get things done. Right. I'm going to sit in their office. I want to look across the face and understand, are you as legit as I am?
Right.
And have that business conversation. So, again, I'm investing in plane tickets. There's hotels. There's rental cars. So there's a lot of cash going in and out.
Now that you've done this for a couple of years, got quite a few events under your belt, what do you wish that someone would have told you before you made that transition and you were fully into this?
When you have that theory, that philosophy of the money comes out automatically and it goes places,
right,
another $150 is probably not going to make a difference in your life 20 years ago. But if I had done that 20 years ago when I got out of school, when I got out of college and my first job, today my life would be different.
Over that period of time.
And I save. I mean, I
Right.
have a significant nest egg.
Right.
But just that little bit of difference that I would have, that 5% more if I had saved that, what I could really do now.
So
Because I can't do all the shows that I want to do. I mean, I
Right.
talk to enough people that I could probably have a show every week or two.
Right.
But remember that conversation about cash flow?
Takes cash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have that kind of cash.
And so fill in this blank for me. I really made a good financial move when
Oh, you're probably not going to like my answer. I started saving straight out of college. Because if I didn't save in college, I wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing now. Next to that, what would I say specifically now time?
Yes.
Specific to the business, I set up a business account. And that is huge.
Separate from you as
Separate. I
Correct.
formalized. I have an LLC. I have a separate business account. I have a separate business checking account. I have a separate business savings account. Got a separate line of credit. I got a separate corporate credit card, and it is all separate from me. One, that protects me personally for any disasters, and two, it also legitimizes my business.
Right.
I have an EIN so when I deal with these agents for these stars that we're talking about, they don't want my social security number. They want an EIN. They want to see my corporate papers. They want to see a check that's coming or a wire transfer from an official business. So for me, that was huge. And I didn't think it was a big deal because I've been in that life, that world of corporate America, that you just do things right. But having talked to so many people that are in this entertainment business, that deal with people that want to get in, and how everybody thinks they can do it, And I think everybody can,
Right.
but they have to do it professionally.
You know, it's Holly, what's so funny about Craig's response is we're talking about separating business and personal. We're talking about having a tax ID number and a separate bank account.
Yes.
You know, that's funny how fundamental that is, but it changes everything.
Absolutely.
Yep. Right.
Having a formal business entity changed the game for me.
I have one more fill in the blank. So
Sure.
I really made a financial, we're going to call it a mistake, as it relates to your business.
Early on, I probably underestimated some expenses around shows. You don't know what you don't know.
Right.
You know, I'll be honest. There was a very successful show that I had that we made a little bit of money, but we didn't make what we should have.
Right.
I mean, at the end of the day, when I was reconciling the books, I was like, "You've got to be kidding me!" I mean, that's all I made.
Right.
But I learned that was literally. I cried that night. It was profitable. I mean, we didn't lose money, but I was like, "You've got to be kidding me!" That's all the money that I made for this. But I learned the questions to ask.
So what about mentors? So not knowing what you know or what you didn't know, did you have any mentors before you started the business, or are you is there someone now that you kind of look to or
Yep.
ask specific questions to?
I didn't have a music mentor. I've had mentors my entire career, thankfully, because I was in organizations like the National Society of Black Engineers, and then at Northwestern, it was very important to have mentors. So mentors in my life has always been a part of who I am. But I didn't have somebody who was specific to say, hey, let me guide you down this path. Now, fortunately, over time, and I'm not shy in asking questions and looking for people to say, you've done this. I don't know what I'm doing. Will you tell me what I'm doing wrong? I have no problem telling people what I don't know and asking for help.
Last question in this section. I just want to talk to you about the risk.
Sure.
I think people don't understand in your role what that risk really means, that, you know, you sell one ticket or 10,000 tickets.
Yeah.
Your talent gets paid the same amount.
Absolutely.
You have real skin in the game. And so for people who are really interested in doing what you're doing, can you just kind of speak to that?
If you're risk averse, this is not a business for you.
Agreed.
And you make a great point. A lot of people think they don't realize when I signed that contract on January 14th for X amount of dollars, and it's significant, whether I sell a single ticket or 1,000, that person gets paid regardless. And because I don't know if I sell those tickets, it's not just the fee that the artist is getting paid, all the deposits for the venue, the radio ad spots. I can't be like, oh, we didn't do well, can I have that money back? That money's spent. So it's not just the artist. There's probably there's probably 2x whatever their fee is just a safe generalization.
Right.
So there's a significant amount of risk. Now it's a calculated risk too. I'm not necessarily going to go out and hire Lil Nook Nook and Ray Ray and put them at the Cobb Energy Center and hope that I can sell tickets.
Right.
I'm gonna get I get artists that have following that I can work with, that have a product that I think people want, or I can package it with other people, and I feel like I can sell that. That's what I'll do.
That's the calculated risk.
That's the calculated risk.
You've run the numbers.
Before I do anything, I run the numbers probably 30 times. I'm looking at different scenarios. Everything from, if I put them at the Renaissance, my total investment might be $2,000, but if I put them at the Courtyard, it's $1,400. How does that change my rate of return? My hypothetical, how does it change my break even?
So earlier you mentioned how humility is an important trait. If you had to say, I guess, what your top 3 traits were for someone who is interested in going into this business, what would you say?
You gotta have thick skin. You have to be able to take no and hear foolishness that you know has nothing to do with you. I think honesty, for me, is just a tenet of my lifestyle or my life. And I like to be transparent with people, you know. And I think that goes back to what I said about where I tell people what I don't know, or I ask the questions to get what I need to know. A thirst for knowledge. I say this every other aspect of my life, and this is really important. Every event that I do, I learn something. If I don't walk away and learn something, I have failed. Forget everybody else's experience, because every event is different. Even when we were on tour with Layla, every night was different. There was something that either went wrong, there was something I saw an opportunity for. I'm taking notes. You know, so people on my team are always like, "You never stop," and I'm like, "No, because I see a destination, and every experience I have is a learning." So if you're not always trying to learn, even on a sold out show, what could we have done differently? How could we have increased our rate of return? Yeah. what could I have done differently to make sure that the artist had even a better experience? So for me, I'm always in that, how can I get better? How can I get better? So people see it as like, yo, you never enjoy the moment. I'm having a great time. But I'm really going to enjoy the moment when the festival is what I want it to be, and I can go on and do what I want to do in my personal life because I've taken care of what I wanted to do in my business life.